Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to a special President's Day weekend edition of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. Just as a reminder, Monday Night Raw this coming week will be at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. I will be there in person for the show. We are having a meetup beforehand at the Hooters across the street. If you would like to stop by and say hi, make sure you RSVP. We have an event page on Facebook. A link is in the description box for that. Got your questions regarding Wrestlemania and other topics. So let's get started today with the first one, which comes from Tomas. Chris Jericho gets Kevin Owens DQ'd at Fastlane, and then at Mania, it's Y2J versus KO title for title. Your thoughts on this booking? I like it. I like the idea, as I've said before, about Jericho and Owens being for the Universal title, but my gut feeling is that's not going to happen. I'm thinking that we will see Kevin Owens lose the title to Goldberg, and Goldberg versus Lesnar will be for the Universal title. That's how I feel it is going to go down. Now, how will WWE get to that point? Will Kevin Owens lose clean to Goldberg? That's a possibility. Will Chris Jericho show up and cost Owens the title? That's a possibility. Also, Brock Lesnar getting involved. That's a possibility. So there are several ways it can go, but a DQ finish, to me, that's not very satisfying for a pay-per-view main event for there to be a DQ. So I'm not expecting that to happen, and I think that would be a mistake to do that. But at the same time, I'd love to see Jericho do that so he gets a title match with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. I think that would be awesome, title for title. I think that it's the hottest feud in WWE right now. Arguably, I mean, some people would say Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt is hotter, but I think Owens and Jericho has been really well done, and I would be cool with it being title for title. I think it's a great idea, but I think the odds are against it realistically. This one comes from Aaron Riff's son. This guy knows how to get his questions answered on video. What can I say? Where does Erick Rowan fit in the roster once he returns? That's interesting because it's believed that he's very close to being able to return. Will he play a role in the whole triangle feud between Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, and Luke Harper? Depending on who the heel is, I could see Erick Rowan coming back and aligning himself with the heel. Will that be Harper? I mean, it's looking like Harper's turning face, and I talked about this in a previous video about how I feel Bray Wyatt should be face sooner than later, but somebody would have to be the heel if this feud is going to continue for any extended period of time, and if that's the case, then I could see Rowan helping out whoever the heel is and siding with that person. That's what I could see Erick Rowan doing when he returns, and maybe we'll see him at WrestleMania. If WWE does do a triple threat match, or even Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton one-on-one, we could very well see some outside interference from Erick Rowan. That would not surprise me. Got this one here from Robert. What was the entire point of the makeover of Emelina if she was just going to remain Emma? Apparently, people in WWE thought the Emelina character had a lot of potential, and according to reports, Emma wasn't really able to perform at the level people in WWE were hoping she could do. And because of that, they decided to drop the gimmick. As far as I'm concerned, it was a recipe for failure from the start, because she was doing fine before she got hurt. Her heel character, what she was doing, it felt like she had some momentum. And then she got hurt, and then WWE decided to change her character when it wasn't necessary. If something is not broken, why fix it? She had something good going for her with that heel gimmick before she got hurt. And I think WWE should have just stuck with that. And now they've made this thing a big joke, and they really should have just gone with it if they were going to even bother, instead of just putting it off and then just dropping it. I think it did damage to her career, quite frankly, and one has to think that people are not going to take her seriously now because of this whole gimmick basically being a waste of time. I mean, what was it? 3 or 4 months that WWE spent doing these hype videos. It might have been even longer than that, and there was no payoff. And I think fans are just frustrated now. So yeah, she could go back to what she was doing before, but fans might not take her seriously anymore. I mean, that's the risk you take when you do this and you set people up and then there's no delivery. This one comes from Dead Autumn. What can WWE do to make the Andre the Giant Battle Royal more prestigious? Winner gets a future title shot? Really, anything would be an improvement. I guess Baron Corbin winning did a little bit for him and gave him a little bit of prestige. But yeah, I would like to see the winner get something more significant, like a title shot, like a world title shot. Maybe at the next pay-per-view, or maybe even on TV. I mean, really anything. Any kind of incentive for somebody to win the Battle Royal rather than just a silly trophy. They actually get a title shot or they get some sort of opportunity as a result of winning the Battle Royal. So I would like to see that at this year's WrestleMania. So the Battle Royal isn't just seen as time filler and being designed so everybody can get a spot on the WrestleMania card. Got this one here from Samish. How would you rate the Festival of Friendship in comparison to Rock's birthday celebration segment? That is a tough one. I mean, are we talking about The Rock's This Is Your Life, or are we talking about something more recent? I think you might be referring to something more recent. I'm not sure. I'm thinking of the This Is Your Life segment, and that's what I was thinking of when I watched that Jericho and Owens skit. I mean, it did remind me at times of the Rock and Mankind This Is Your Life from '99. I mean, to me, they're two different things. I mean, anything with The Rock, whether it's the This Is Your Life or the Rock concert or one of the other big celebration segments with The Rock, I mean, that was mainly designed for comedy. And with this Jericho and Owens thing, I mean, yeah, it was part comedy, but it was also designed to take a very serious turn. And I think as far as being serious and having a big payoff at the end, I mean, this was one of the best segments WWE has put together in many years. And whoever came up with that segment and the ideas for that segment deserves a lot of credit. And my gut feeling is it was Jericho. My gut feeling is Jericho came up with a lot of those segments, and it wasn't just the regular WWE writing team. It was a very well done segment. It was funny when it was supposed to be funny, and it was serious when it was supposed to be serious. Like I said, it was a home run segment in my opinion. Got this one here from Brett. Is it me, or does it seem like American Alpha have cooled down? Maybe it's the entire tag division. Yeah, I would say they have. The problem is that American Alpha haven't really been able to showcase their talents on the big stage. We haven't gotten to see a match of the caliber of what they were doing in NXT with teams like the Revival. What the casual fans need to see is American Alpha at their best. American Alpha against another top tag team and the two teams just tearing it up in the ring. We haven't really seen that yet. And another problem is that there are not a lot of strong teams on SmackDown. I mean, the tag division is pretty weak. You have the Ascension, you have Breezango, you have the Vaudevillains, and their whole gimmick has pretty much run its course. They need to call up the Revival or another team. Really, it's the Revival. I think you get the Revival up on the main roster, you have American Alpha and Revival, let them do a 20-minute tag team match on a pay-per-view, and I think you'll start to see fans taking American Alpha more seriously. And Alpha will have more credibility. But they need to win themselves over with the casual fans, and that just hasn't happened yet. I mean, you look at AJ Styles. He came in, and right from the get-go, he was able to shine and have these great matches and really be able to steal the show. And American Alpha have not gotten that opportunity yet. This question comes from I've Got Kids 33. Who wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal with the current rumored WrestleMania card? Who needs it the most? I would say the biggest star that isn't in another high-profile match. I mean, the biggest star in the match should probably win the Battle Royal, or the guy with the most upside. If Samoa Joe is thrown into the Battle Royal, I would say Samoa Joe should win it. If Dean Ambrose is not in a match, and I think he should be against Baron Corbin. But if one of those guys that should be in a big match at WrestleMania but isn't, is in the Battle Royal, that is the guy that I think would be your best logical choice to win the Battle Royal. Somebody who isn't just going to be in the Battle Royal and then lost in the shuffle. If he's going to be in the Battle Royal and he's a significant name, he should be winning the entire thing. This one comes from James Cowell. Who do you think will induct Teddy Long into the Hall of Fame? My guess is it will probably be Ron Simmons. I mean, to me, that is the most logical choice based off of their history in WCW. Of course, Teddy Long was the manager of Doom, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, and they have a long history together. I think as far as doing a speech goes, I think Ron Simmons would do a great job. And I just think he's the best choice. I mean, I could see a couple of other people doing it. I could possibly see JBL doing it. And I could see somebody from Teddy Long's past maybe doing it. But at the end of the day, I think Ron Simmons is the right choice for the induction speech. This one comes from Andy Cruz. Is Bayley's win on Raw a little lackluster considering that everyone knows that Charlotte will most likely win at Fastlane? I've seen a lot of debate about it, a lot of people feeling that it was too soon, and I agree. Ideally, it should have been at WrestleMania where Bayley won her first women's title on the main roster, but sometimes things are just not meant to be a certain way, and WWE decided to speed up the process, and like I said, fortunately for WWE, it worked out. The crowd in Las Vegas was really hot for the match. Bayley got a huge pop when she won the title, and perception is everything. And if people see Bayley as a big deal and millions of people watched Raw and saw her win the title and saw the crowd pop huge, that is really critical in making her a big-time, larger-than-life superstar. So, you know, we can all argue on what the right move was, but at the end of the day, if this results in people taking Bayley seriously as a major superstar, then it was the right time. But on paper, I think most of us would agree it should have been done at WrestleMania. This one comes from Anthony. Hey Aaron, I think Enzo Amore is just a mouthpiece, not a good wrestler. Your thoughts? I think he's fine, but he is a decent wrestler in a promotion with tons of great wrestlers, and that's one area where Enzo doesn't stand out. I mean, his promos are fantastic. He's one of the best mic guys in the entire company. But in the ring, yeah, I've seen him botch some things on television, and you know, he's not quite as good as some of the other talent, but you know, it's his talking that makes him really stand out. So yeah, I would agree with that statement. I would say that he is basically where he's at because of his verbal skills and not his in-ring skills. But I wouldn't say he's horrible or anything. I just think he's good in a sea of great wrestlers. This one comes from the Outcast Kid. When do you think we will see our first Loser Leaves brand feud, and which brand would you do it first? I think it'll be a while because we have the draft. I'm guessing will be coming up in June, and that's, what, 3 to 4 months away. I could see it happening maybe later in the year. I would not rush it. I would do it when there's a good storyline reason to do it. You know, that situation where SmackDown or Raw is too big for two people and somebody has to go. That's when you do the storyline, when there's a good reason to do it, not just because you're trying to pop a rating or just because you have no other good creative ideas. Maybe something with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton if the feud goes on, but then again, you got the brand draft coming up and you could just draft somebody to another show, and you know, that's an easy solution. So my guess is it'll be a while. It'll be later in the year at the soonest, and by then, who knows what the storylines are going to be like. So to me, it's really hard to predict who you would put in that situation. This one comes from another Aaron, A-double-Ron, like the username. So what's with WWE modernizing all of their records? For example, New Day's title reign and WrestleMania 32's attendance. And he is a first-time asker. Well, regarding New Day and their reign being the longest reigning tag team champions, I mean, it's obvious. WWE wanted to break Demolition's record, and that was pretty much the only reason New Day held the titles for so long. It's political. It's WWE having this vendetta with Demolition. Demolition's part of this lawsuit against WWE. And, WWE sometimes, as a company, they do things for petty reasons. And we saw what happened with AJ Lee. She was dating CM Punk and then married CM Punk and then left the company. So how does WWE respond to this? They take away her record. They have Nikki Bella break the record and then immediately lose the title after the record is broken. So it's clear as day that they only did it so the record could be broken. And as far as the WrestleMania 32 attendance, I mean, I believe it was a legitimate attendance record. And you have to keep in mind that the WrestleMania 3 record was a work number itself. So I believe legitimately WrestleMania 32 had the largest attendance, and WWE's like, well, we always make up these storyline attendance numbers and get away with it. And they can get away with it because it's not financial information. The stockholders don't care about the attendance numbers. They care about the revenue. They care about the gate. So WWE can make up these fake numbers, and yeah, I mean, this was the place to do it. WrestleMania 32 and that huge building, it was full. They can get away with saying, yeah, there were 100,000 people there. And whether there were or not, I guess Vince said in a recent interview that attendance figure was also counting the workers and ticket takers and all that stuff and the vendors. So, whatever. I mean, it is what it is, as I would say. This one comes from Billy. What did you think of the DX rebirth in 1998 at the time it happened? Did you think it was going to work? Absolutely. When Triple H came out there and brought out X-Pac, I mean, to me that was a real symbolic turn of events, and it was representing a shift in momentum. WCW was suddenly looking unhip and uncool, and with X-Pac coming out there and dissing Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and saying that the only reason Hall and Nash were still in WCW was because they were being held hostage. I mean, that promo made WWE look like the cool thing and made WCW look like a thing of the past. So to me, that was a really critical moment in the Monday Night Wars and a real turning point in perception. Like I said earlier, perception is everything. And, all the credit to Sean Waltman. He made that jump and he cut an amazing promo, and it was a big moment in the turning point of the war between WWE and WCW. So yeah, I mean, I definitely thought it was going to work. I thought that WWE was definitely on the rise, especially with that DX promo and the rebirth of DX. This one comes from Great Turbonian. What did you think of the Triple H and Kurt Angle feud in 2000? I thought it was really good. I mean, it was very entertaining television, and I liked the stuff with Kurt Angle and Stephanie flirting and Triple H getting pissed off, and, the stuff with Trish Stratus getting involved. But I do feel that the end of that storyline was weak. It felt like it was leading towards a Stephanie Triple H on-screen breakup, and my guess is that because of political reasons, Triple H did not want them to split up on television because that could potentially lead to a real life split. I mean, this is how wrestling works. I mean, it's really weird how relationships work in wrestling and on television, and the whole thing with life imitating art and that sort of thing. And maybe Triple H, being the smart guy he is, said, that's a bad idea, and they pretty much dropped the Triple H Stephanie split, and then Stephanie just became Kurt Angle's manager, and the whole thing was pretty lame. I think the payoff was lame. I mean, they had a lot of build up leading up to Stephanie leaving Triple H for Kurt Angle, and they just dropped it, and it fell flat. Got this one here from Larby. Is Kelly coming back to WWE, and should Charlotte's streak be broken by someone like Ronda Rousey? Regarding Kelly, I know WWE has been talking about having past women appear at WrestleMania, and they certainly teased it with that Kelly backstage interview from this past week. Would not surprise me to see her at WrestleMania in some capacity. As they say, when there's smoke, there's fire. And I think that there's a reason WWE did that promo. It wasn't just randomly done. It was to set up something for WrestleMania with some of the past women coming back for some sort of match or storyline. And regarding Ronda Rousey and Charlotte, I mean, if WWE can get Ronda and they keep Charlotte's streak intact, then that is a possibility. But ideally, I'd rather see somebody, I said this with Undertaker's streak, the idea of somebody ending the streak and they can use that to build their career and something that they can brag about for years to come. And that can really make somebody by having them beat Charlotte's streak. So would it really be necessary for Ronda to end the streak? I mean, no. I mean, if she's only going to be there for a one-shot deal or one or two matches as a celebrity, then no, I don't think that's necessary. I would rather see somebody who's going to be a full-time performer could really benefit from it ending Charlotte's pay-per-view streak. Got this one here from Tommy. Why do you think so many old-timers have turned to religion and God, like Sting, Shawn Michaels, and Kurt Angle, and so forth? I think it's because it helps bring some sense of positivity to their lives. And, the way I see it is, if it helps them, it makes them better people, then let them do what they're going to do. I think with some of these guys, they need something to be able to turn their lives around. And they get addicted to alcohol and drugs, and their family lives get messed up, and they become desperate, and they need some sort of guidance. And religion can be that guidance for people, and it can be a source of strength for people. So some people can really benefit from it. And I say if they're not harming other people, I say if people want to go that route, then they should. They should do whatever will keep their head above water and what will keep them healthy and happy. I mean, that's what life is all about, being happy and making the most of your life. So on that note, that philosophical note, we will wrap up this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it with a friend on social media like Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest, and stay tuned for more videos. I will be back in the next couple of days, maybe after Raw with my thoughts on the show, but definitely by Tuesday with another NoDQ&A video. Stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys next time.